professor will give you battle ready to take your competition down. I hear the bell. Let's get to class.
Welcome again to Fantasy University. Alongside the professor, I'm NOSTER. And today our podcast is focusing on AFC wide receivers from the AFC East and AFC North. So what we always like to start doing is telling you who the obvious pick is and then go on. The obvious pick here is Randy Moss, number one. But since only one team can get him, we're going to be telling you who we think you should target if you're not the team with Randy Moss. And I'm sure the professor might have an opinion or two in that area. Anybody you think is worthy right after Randy Moss?
I'll tell you what, I don't know about exactly after Randy Moss, but pretty high up there would be Brandon Marshall. The guy is just amazing, a precise route runner. I like Chad Henne as his quarterback. You won't have to deal with bad weather other than rain in Miami, so I really look for Brandon Marshall to have a big year.
A man among boys.
Definitely, most definitely. And another guy that might have a really big year, but he's got a little bit of attitude, is Anquan Bolden. I like Bolden, and I really like Joe Flacco and the situation he is in Baltimore. He's out of Arizona now, so hopefully he'll be happy. And I think Bolden would be another nice choice.
Well, attitude's not always a bad thing.
Well, sometimes. I want to talk about a choice that I would not make.
Okay.
And that is Chad Ocho Stinko. Yes, I'm sorry, Chad. But how in the world can you be practicing for the upcoming season when you're on Dancing with the Stars? Practicing dancing, and now you're on another reality show, dating 100 women. I mean, come on, Chad, stick to football. You can do that stuff after your career's over, like Jerry did, like Emmett did. Wait till after the career is over, please. But hey, you know what? Knock yourself out. Just not on my team.
Well, I'm not as hard on Mr. Ocho Cinco as you are. But at the time of this taping, he did just pull a hamstring, and he won't be practicing again for a few weeks. So we're pretty much doing this Memorial Day weekend. And on that note, by the time this gets up on the web, you might want to be watching that free agent list real close, because a lot of stuff's going to happen after we air this. We do plan on doing some updates right before your draft, but we'll give you the best information we can today.
That's right. Other picks, I really like the sleepers, and when I need a pick or two for sleepers, I like to turn to a good friend here, Nos, who is the Nostradamus of fantasy football.
Well, he has more confidence in me than I have, but I have fooled him over the years. But I tell you what, there are two guys I really like who may not be as high on your radar as they should. One guy is Jericho Cotchery. For one reason, he's going to be starting off the season with a starting job, and he knows he has 4 weeks to prove himself, because the starting wide receiver for the Jets, Antonio Holmes, is on a 4-week suspension. If Cotchery shows he is the real deal and he can step up to the plate, putting yardage along with those number of catches, he might just stick and get a little more PT after week 4, so he's got something to play for.
Well, too, with that situation, I'd like to add, Braylon Edwards is your other starter, and so
Say stone.
Yes, and if Braylon Edwards doesn't step up in them 4 weeks, Cotchery might be a starter. After Holmes comes back, Holmes might take Edwards' job. So, and that's if Holmes comes back, because who knows what trouble that boy can get into in terms of you've got what? 4 more months before the season starts. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff he can get into.
Never underestimate the ignorance of professional athletes.
Never.
Another sleeper I like is a guy who was a rookie last year, Mike Wallace. Now, you might say, what about the quarterback situation there in Pittsburgh? But I think they're going to be okay because, number one, Byron Leftwich is just coming back to a system he was already in, and fairly successfully the first time. He didn't do a bad job in the past as Pittsburgh's quarterback, so he knows what the system requires. System requires a good running the football, which in their case sets up their passing game. And Mike Wallace, good possession, fast, talented. You draft Mike Wallace and you will not be hating the guy. You'll say, I'm glad I got this guy on my team.
Yeah, I really like Mike Wallace. I think he could be an up-and-coming guy for years to come in Pittsburgh.
And I just want to hear the professor give out some grades on some team wide receivers and talk about a few of their players.
Okay.
To me, one of the most interesting teams out there right now is the Baltimore Ravens. What do you got, Professor?
Well, I tell you what, with Baltimore, you've got Mark Clayton. Of course, you've got Bolden. Then you got Mark Clayton, which Derek Mason could spell Clayton because Derek Mason used to be a starter. Now he's going to be taking a little bit of a back seat. For how long? Who knows? Todd Heap, I mean, he's a tight end. We'll talk about Todd Heap at a later date, but still, I really like their wide receivers.
Also, what do you got on the rest of the Bengal wide receivers? Antonio Bryant, he doesn't look like too bad of a pick in my book.
He doesn't look very bad, but he doesn't look very good either. I mean, it could go either way. Bryant hasn't really had an outstanding quarterback down in Tampa. Chris Sims and Freeman. I wouldn't put them in the same.
Giants. The Giants of the
Giants, yes. I wouldn't put them in the same league as Carson Palmer, but so you know the jury's still out on him. A guy that really showed me something last year was Andre Cardwell. He really looked nice last year, so those two look all right.
Yeah, Caldwell is a good name. Another guy to keep an eye on in the preseason games is Wes Welker. See how he's coming back from that injury? All indications are he's doing pretty good.
Also another Bengal I almost forgot, Jordan Shipley of the University of Texas. He's a rookie coming in. Watch for him in the preseason.
Yeah, supposed to be a poor man's Wes Welker.
That's what I'm hearing.
And he might make you a rich man.
Definitely.
For the professor, I'm Noster.
Have a good day, but a better tomorrow.